Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. My name is Samantha Warnett, your host for this evening. It is free agency, and there are a lot of things happening by the hour. So I feel like as a disclaimer, we obviously have people watching live, but for those of you listening, the time of the podcast currently is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on March 21st. And I feel like I have to say that because things are changing by the hour. Before I introduce our commentators, I do want to give a shout out to Trey Smith, running back from Wyoming. He's entering the draft. He is former Jaguars running back Jimmy Smith's son. And I know last year during the draft episode, we told you we would have him on, but he is extremely busy and told us that he is definitely coming on after the draft. But as of right now, he's so busy preparing, and we wish him good luck in his endeavors and everything he's got going on. But he's definitely going to be joining us after the draft. And also shout out to Rashad Jennings. We made a retweet earlier about his book, Arcade and the Triple T Token. It's a children's series, and his son reading it, and he's thoroughly enjoying it. And I just, shout out to him for writing that series, and parents with kids that are, second, third grade and above. It's a really, really good book and teaches them a lot of great things. And so I'm very excited about that. You can check it out at arcadelivingston.com or rashadjennings.com. We'll have that if you want to order it. And it's also on Amazon, so that's cool. Moving on, though, our wonderful, as Chris Jackson would say, esteemed host for this evening. Representing the Titans, we have John Ha.
I've never been described as esteemed.
You must not have been on with Chris Jackson as the host.
Yeah, he never invites me.
Oh.
You know what? Come on tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about.
Hey, I'm going to, if the Titans fans hated me however long I've been on, they're going to really hate me now because
Oh, no.
Oh, I think the Titans fan might have cut his internet.
Yeah.
Oh, the Titans fans hacked his internet, literally. Well, John, we hope that you fix up that Wi-Fi with some mayo and come back because your face isn't looking too good frozen there, buddy.
Yeah, because that wow. There you go. Okay, there we are. Yep,
No,
you froze.
geez. Okay.
You froze.
I wasn't joking around that time.
Representing the Jaguars this evening, we have Matthew Grieve.
Christian Kirk. Let's go.
Said no one ever.
Representing the Colts, we have Chris Jackson.
Hey, you know what, guys? I promise I'm going to be as ridiculous as ever. I know you thought that was going another way, but you know what? We got Matt Ryan. All bets are off. You guys are done.
Listen, before I introduce the next person, do you guys feel like you've heard this before with Carson Wentz? Or
I didn't say this with Carson Wentz. I never said this with Carson Wentz.
Just as a generalization from Colts fans. Game over. We got Carson Wentz now.
No, I don't think. Listen, nobody ever said we have Carson Wentz now. You should be scared. No, that's never been a thing. If anything, Colts fans have said we got Carson Wentz.
Watch out. We have Jacoby Brissett. No, I'm just kidding. All right, moving on.
Listen.
You've got the most underappreciated quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's John Ha's favorite.
That's my guy. That's my favorite player.
John Ha. How sad are you tonight?
I can be a Colts commentator throughout the year. That's how much I love Matt Ryan. This is where I qualify now.
Hey, he said come on his podcast tomorrow on the You Don't Know Jack.
Oh, yeah.
This is very strange.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a very weird existence right now.
Well, moving on from John's love life, representing
Oh.
representing the Texans, we have Dylan C. Slick. He's back, guys.
I am back. I had to wait. I had to wait until my guy Deshaun Watson is gone. Now he's gone. Time to have some fun again.
That's what all the women in Houston said as well. So, anyways, listen, normally we would have NFL news. Obviously, we don't have enough time for that. And this is the AFC South fan battle. And there are a lot of things to talk about, guys. The AFC South has been making some free agency moves. So we're going to kick it off with the frozen man, John Ha, the Matt Ryan lover, John Ha.
Yeah.
I almost called you Matt.
I froze like ice. Matty Ice.
You froze like your heart did when Matty Ice went to the Colts.
It feels wrong. I don't like it. I don't like Matt Ryan with the Colts. Yeah. It's like kissing a cousin. This feels wrong.
And you guys would know all about that in Tennessee.
As a Titans fan, it's on par.
Awkward silence too. I love it. Okay, listen.
All right, I'm on track. What am I talking about? What are we talking?
Titans free agency and Titans moves.
Free agency moves. Nothing too crazy. We got Harold Landry signed to a big deal, which was probably expected. We got rid of Julio Jones. A little less expected, but still felt inevitable given what happened last year and his injury problems and all of that. Re-signed Randy Bullock. Fat Randy comes on down for another 2 years, it looks like. Just fine. We haven't had a steady kicker for a while, but Randy was fine. He was more than fine. We lost Deontay Foreman, which I'm a little upset about. I would have liked to have kept him, but probably wouldn't have been able to afford him either way. So we'll have to roll with Dontrell Hilliard if Derrick Henry gets hurt. It's going to be a little more grim. Who do we get? AJ Moore from Houston. You could probably tell me more about him, Dylan. And then Austin Hooper, tight end out of Cleveland, but most of his production came from when he was at Atlanta. The most underrated quarterback in the
Julio
NFL,
Jones.
Matt Ryan. I talked about Julio.
Oh, did you?
I did. Thanks for listening, my esteemed host.
I usually don't listen to you talk, my bad.
Austin Hooper. Like I said, he was
right over that one then.
He was most productive when he was with the great Matt Ryan. Then the biggest signing was probably that we traded for Robert Woods for practically nothing. So Robert Woods is a solid pick, and if you're just going to be spending a 6th round pick, I don't know anyone who wouldn't do that. So overall, it was pretty baseline, nothing like eye popping, other than maybe Robert Woods, but that's nothing too crazy.
Is that because Mike Vrabel thinks you guys are perfect?
I don't know what he's thinking. All I know is, we still haven't got a Super Bowl, and he still has his dick, so he better start chopping it.
I can't. How do you follow up that one? Okay. You can't. Are we talking about Mike Vrabel or Matt Ryan at this point?
You were talking about Mike Vrabel. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it was a it was an average free agency period so far. Probably just moving on to the draft. I don't expect too much more out of our camp other than just sort of working around salaries this way, that way, whatever.
So what do you give your free agency grade so far, John?
I don't know. A B. It's fine. I really enjoyed the Robert Woods signing just because of the bargain. That's really what it is. I think he's a really solid receiver. I think everyone was forgetting how productive he was and with the Rams until he got hurt. So we'll have to see how he is coming off of that. But like I said, a 6th rounder, that's a great bargain. Any of you guys would take it.
You don't have to defend it like that. We get it.
I didn't hear any objections, so I just decided to keep talking until someone interrupted.
He's so used to it. Poor John. We're sorry.
I know. Where's Todd? He's gonna start saying stupid stuff.
You want me to be like, come on now? Start being all loud for you.
Yeah.
Oh, John. Well, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah. It's been a minute. I don't think I've been on since before the Super Bowl.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think many of us have, except for me,
Yeah.
Harish, and Matt, since before the Super Bowl. It's season 4. We're back. We're back.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. This is gonna be the most information in a short amount of time because the Jaguars have made so many moves thus far. But before we start into that, today The Athletic came out with an article about good old Urban Meyer, the esteemed coach from the Jaguars. Matt, do you have any comment on that?
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Mm.
No, man, it's
get
unfortunate. You know, I was a big Urban Meyer cheerleader, but it's unfortunate. I know the headline says right at the beginning, it says the most toxic environment I've ever been a part of, and that came from a veteran player. That's saying something. Not
Did
to say
it name?
that
Did it
I mean,
name who said that?
I'd
I
have
don't
to
think.
dive into the
I don't think
article.
it did, but I didn't know if anybody knew.
I don't think so, but I mean, the NFL is just full of type A personalities. So a lot of people from the outside would look in and think that most of them are toxic. But so to have someone actually come out and say that it was the most toxic environment kind of is telling. I've had work environments where they're toxic, and it's a pretty horrible work condition. For someone to come out and say that, it's unfortunate that it happened, but I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah, very sad. Does anybody have anything to comment on that besides he sucks?
Who's that number 99 guy on the Rams? I don't
Oh
know.
my
Dude.
gosh.
Unknown
Mm.
player.
I heard he's a little bit of an issue.
I just listen. It's not like they like. Have you guys seen that Ted Lasso where it's like the football coach that goes and coaches soccer or whatever? It's on Apple TV. Like it's not like that was the situation. Like I feel like yeah, you were coaching college, but like you didn't do your homework before you went into professional football. Like I don't
Well,
know.
it's not only that, but like, how could you be a professional football coach? Granted, it's on the college level, but not even enjoy football enough to even look at the pros. Like, why would you not
Right.
even care to even watch a pro game?
Right. It was just like, I mean,
Well, I mean, you could tell that there was a lot of ego involved because I mean, this man has been given every single opportunity from like the top offices in NCAA, and just came into the Jaguar situation, and you know they gave him full reign over everything, just about. So I mean, if he came in with that type of confidence and bravado and downright cockiness, then of course he's gonna go in there thinking that he doesn't need to go and do research and game plan and do all that because he just
that's why
believed
he
that
brought that massive staff with him to do it for him, but it doesn't matter because it's all caught on, I guess, audio. We had a comment come in, if Matt wants to throw it back up there, from Jai Bruton. I believe I'm saying your name correctly. Who
Okay.
said at least he's being honest, but I'll wrap this conversation up with I would like to think that. However, the article and what he was quoted saying is very contradicting of the press conferences. So like when Robinson was benched and he said that he had nothing to do with that, he was direct quoted to say, he's out of there, bench him, put Hyde in. So, there wasn't even transparency, which I don't expect full transparency because, but that just goes to show you what kind of guy he is. He'll throw somebody else under the bus, Anyway, moving on.
I mean, he started off his tenure with hiring a known racist onto his staff, so you knew that.
Oh yeah, we were talking about. Yeah, we're talking that pre-production. I guess low-key racist remarks too that he made to Trevor Lawrence, and I'm glad he's gone, to say the least.
Yeah. I'm not. He was my favorite coach mainly
Yeah.
because he didn't seem like he was doing. He knew what he was doing out there when the Jags were playing. So
Yeah,
It made me feel better about Bill O'Brien.
it made. I just kept thinking while I'm reading all the stuff he said, like, damn, Jalen had a lot to say about Tom. Can you imagine him playing under Urban Meyer? I wish I would have seen that. Like, I wish he would have been here for Urban Meyer because he probably would have whipped his ass. It would have been great. Anyways, moving on. Matt Grieve, the Jaguars.
I mean,
Free
so one
agency.
thing though, as much of a shit show it was with Urban Meyer, it's because of his shit shows. We're most likely because while we're drafting number 1 overall, so we can thank him for that if we want to, I guess.
Well, I mean, we
That's
drafted number 1
that's called
overall the year
spin.
prior too. But I mean, if you feel better, then
Let me
sure.
spin this. Yeah.
Let's spin it
Yeah.
around.
Silver lining, whatever.
Little-
No, that
yeah.
was horrible. Good
Yeah,
gracious.
very.
Um,
The only thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to let you take it, because we know AFC South Fan Battle listeners for the years of listening, Andrew Norwell's gone. That's all I care about. Go ahead. I care about more, but go ahead.
Yes.
Take it.
Andrew Norwell is gone, although I think he had a decent year. Man, who did he get picked up by? Was it Washington that picked him up? Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
I said okay, cool. He wasn't worth the money that we paid him, but yeah. So yeah, it was interesting free agency. We got Evan Ingram, tight end from the Giants. I know a lot of people were thinking that wasn't a big pickup, but hear this. His worst year, he had 44 receptions. In Jaguars history, tight ends have gone over 40 receptions 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times in the history of Jaguars
So he should fit right in.
has a tight end gone over 40 receptions. This guy's worst year is 44, so we'll take it. We will take it. Apparently, we didn't know what a tight end was in the organization, so I say that's an A+. He'll slot in right away as one of the best tight ends in the history of Jaguars. Let's see. Then we had let's see. Chris, I think you might have to help me with this one.
Which
Foley.
There was a lot.
Oh,
Zay
Foley
Jones.
and Fatukasi.
Oh, the
Thank you,
pronunciation.
that guy. So we picked up a defensive tackle from the Jets. We'll take that. Can't have too many of those guys. We'll move on to some of the bigger names. Zay Jones, wide receiver. Not a huge fan of that pickup. We'll see. I mean, the guy stepped up once they had a couple injuries on their roster last year. I think he ended up with close to 600 yards last year, about 50 receptions. We'll see, I guess. He's got potential, I think. Christian Kirk, probably the biggest splash signing that we've had. Yes, he got a ton of money, a crap ton of money. But as we've seen each and every offseason, the numbers that they sign originally are not the numbers that they end up with in a couple years. So
I think
the
You
numbers
had the
are
money.
crazy.
You guys had the money to spend too.
Right. But we all know he's not going to make all that money. If he makes it beyond the 2 years, the first 2 years, we could essentially cut him. I'm not sure how much dead money to have after that, but the contract structure in a way that we can kind of get out in 2 years. But if he goes beyond that, restructuring, we see it everywhere. So big money, but I think the wide receivers of the next couple of years are going to dwarf the money that we signed Christian Kirk to. I think he has a lot of upside. He plays out of the slot primarily, and he's done well. The cornerbacks on the outside, if they move him to the outside, we're assuming they're signing him as the number one. Can he beat those guys? I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. But I think he's got a lot of upside there. Then we got the linebacker out of the Atlanta Falcons. I thought that was a great pickup. He led the tackles last year. He's smart. I think it was at Yale that he graduated from. So smart guy. He's all over the field. We cut Miles Jack shortly thereafter, which kind of made sense. They kind of do the same job. Then Scherf to help shore up our offensive line. Dude's a stud. First team all pro selection back in 2020 and multiple Pro Bowls. I'll take that all day, every day for our centerpiece in Trevor Lawrence. Darius Williams, cornerback, we signed him. But I'll say this. So I'd say I will give our grade an A. And I only say that because at first I wasn't a huge fan of a lot of these signings because it's like, I mean, we're letting go these receivers that we've had. We're letting go Miles Jack, who's been such a staple for our defense. But when you look at it, we've had how many wins over the past 2 years? 4 wins in the past 2 years. We got to let people go. As much as I like these players, we need new. Out with the old, in with the new. These guys were good, but they weren't good enough. So we got to get a new culture. And how is that? You bring in a new coach. You bring in new players. Maybe they weren't the biggest studs in the world, but to replace what we have is kind of where we got to be. And I'm really happy. And a lot of the guys have said that they're coming to Jacksonville because of Doug Peterson. So I think I'm giving it an A. Maybe not necessarily just because of their talent, just because I really do feel like the Jaguars are finally turning the page.
Rebuilding again.
Yeah, but I think this is a legit one. Whereas before, we're rebuilding, right? But we're going to rebuild through the draft. We're going to pick up these players, give them these crazy contracts, but we're still going to keep the old players that have been part of that losing culture, right? So we're starting to dump those players from losing culture. They're going on to I think greener pastures. A lot of them are going to some good teams. Miles Jack went to the Steelers. I think he'll do well there.
Where'd
I was
DJ Chark
I was
go?
hoping we were going to get out. Chark went to Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Goff, we'll see how well he'll do there. We essentially just swapped Marvin Jones and DJ Chark, if you look at it that way. We'll see what happens with Laviska. There's rumors that they're shopping Laviska or willing to trade Laviska Chenault, but we'll see. It'll be interesting once we get all
We'll
of
give you
our
a
players
sixth-round
back.
pick for him.
See where they slot everybody at.
Yeah, definitely feels like a new Jaguars. So that is a whole lot in a little bit of time. Matt, thank you for that. So you give them an A. Colts, Chris Jackson. Let me like tell you guys too in pre-production. We put this in order of least interesting to like the most interesting. And as of today, I would have put Colts first.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they moved up to number 2 very quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly I see why. Much like most of the chats and like the groups that I'm in, it's just like Ballard has had probably one of the most uneventful free agency periods ever. And I mean, outside of Carson Wentz, we saw the trade for him, and then just even to get a second round pick. I mean, granted, we traded second round picks, but we moved up in the second round, added a third, and then got a third next year. That's also a conditional for if he plays 70% of snaps in Washington, then that turns to a second next year. So, like I said, that was the biggest thing because they're just like, okay, get him the hell out of here. But, once
And
again,
you got them to actually eat the contract too. Like Washington took the contract and everything.
Yeah, because it just came off. We took no hit on that.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, it's just like it really, really worked out in our favor. But I think the biggest part about it was that you actually got some type of value for him because he would have been released. So all Washington had to do was basically just wait it out, and I'm pretty sure he would have been gone anyway, and they could have signed him to whatever. But I mean, Ballard got them to take on money. But once again, in true Ballard fashion, once that was done, nothing else happened. You have sore spots. You know that we need wide receivers. You know that you need tackle.
Okay.
You know that you need different things. But he didn't make a move, and I mean I understood because, and like I said, not trashing the Jags, but the thing is, personally, I don't think Christian Kirk is worth, 18 mil a year. But the thing is, if you're signing anybody within those first couple days, even in the tampering period, you're gonna overpay. Like you're granted, you're going to end up paying a lot more for a player than you normally would, but because of the fact that everybody's getting on hype, then that's just what it is. So
well, yeah, if you wait it out, you risk losing the guy, so you pay a little more just to get it first.
Of course, but I mean, are you going to get somebody and then they're going to be super productive, or are you going to end up with Kenny Galladay last year? Because I mean, Kenny Galladay got what? I think it was like 17, 18 mil, and it's just I think I probably had as many receiving yards as Kenny Galladay last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're being completely real, then yeah. But
you also have to pay. We also have to pay premium because we suck.
Okay, that's fair. You said it, not me. So,
I'm being transparent.
Okay, that's I appreciate you for that, Matt. I truly do. It takes a lot to be introspective. All right. So thank you for that. But I, like I said, I didn't know exactly what Ballard had up his sleeve. We had names on around like Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Matt Ryan. All these names have been thrown around in the last week, and then finally, they waited till the umpteenth hour and then traded for a third-round pick for Matt Ryan, which.
I wish it would have been Marcus Mariota to be.
Here's the thing is, I think you guys. Here's the thing is, you guys had to wait until Deshaun Watson was taken because, from what I understand, the Colts were very interested in Matt Ryan first and foremost. That was the guy they wanted. but Atlanta wasn't going to do anything until they had their guy, and they felt pretty good about getting Deshaun Watson. From what I'm understanding, there was a lot of confidence in getting Deshaun Watson. It was as if they were up 28-3, and they felt assured of getting Deshaun Watson. And then all of a sudden he goes to
I almost
Cleveland.
spit my drink out.
Yeah, because they didn't have the money to do it. But from what I was like, my boss is a really big Falcons fan. He was telling me that he was reading these things that there was a lot of players that wanted to come to Atlanta if Deshaun Watson was going to go there. There was like a lot, like OBJ wanted to go there. Like it was at AJ Green. There was a lot of guys that were like, we come to Atlanta
Jarvis,
if Deshaun Watson.
Leonard Fournette was going to go.
Leonard Fournette wanted to. There was a lot of people wanted to go.
I know Honey Badger was waiting.
Yeah, but you guys had to wait to get Matt Ryan until Atlanta knew what they were going to have. So
We have a comment from the Facebook, from the fan battle group that says, I wish it would have been any of the guys Chris just mentioned except Matt Ryan.
Well,
so here's the thing.
Guess what? So the Colts fans can be just like the stupid Falcons fans. You don't deserve Matt Ryan if that's the way you're going to talk about him.
Well, okay. Well, John. Well, first of all, heal. Okay, can we heal, please? All right, because you're getting a little snippy. You're getting a little snippy.
I will. I do.
But if we're being completely honest, I mean, out of all those options, I think Matt Ryan is probably the most sensible because I mean, this year you have guys that are coming out in the draft who may be like fringe guys, may need to have like a year or two before they actually go in. So if you actually get Matt Ryan and you surround him with weapons, you've extended that shelf life where you can have him for the next 2 to 3 years and then have somebody mentoring behind him.
He doesn't make stupid mistakes. He doesn't do mistakes like Carson Wentz does.
I'm not saying he does.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm being emphatic about it. This guy, you have a more than competent quarterback. This is like you're in great shape.
John, whose side are you on?
He definitely has one of those life-size Matt Ryan boards in his room.
Listen,
No.
this is like
Not
this is
anymore.
now like Matt Ryan fan battle. Where Chris talks.
I told you it's gonna be weird this year. I could be the.
I've never seen a time where I've been giving somebody compliments and somebody is defending them while I'm giving them compliments.
I've been doing it since 2008. The stupid Falcons fans don't realize how good of a quarterback they had.
No, but he actually and I know they've talked about him as far as decline, but I mean honestly, it's just ever since they lost Devontae Freeman, you've had other guys who have gone off, and then it's just that O-line has deteriorated. They've really done nothing to, I'm gonna say, probably just put him in a much better position. So it's just year in, year out. I think last year was the first year that they've actually got him a legitimate weapon outside of, Calvin Ridley 3 years prior. So, I mean, if we're talking about now,
Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson was the only offense for him last year.
Yeah, and Cordell Patterson was converted from being a wide receiver / returner.
Yeah, he was everything. Yeah, who's the guy from Taysom Hill? He was the Taysom Hill of the league last year. Yeah. He just did everything.
But let me not be remiss. I'm going to talk about something else other than Matt Ryan. It's not because I don't think highly.
Do we have to?
Hold on. We had a comment come in. Hold on. We had a comment come in from Facebook user, which he was the one that
that is.
I want to know who it is. I just wrote a comment. If you're in the AFC South fan battle,
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Yeah, when he made the comment, that's what I figured was it was actually not a Colt fan.
It wasn't a Colts fan. Yeah, he was saying that he wished he would have got anybody except Matt Ryan, giving him a compliment, John. So calm down.
Yeah.
But whoever this is also says that he thinks you're a closet Colts fan now.
I'm a closet Colts fan.
Listen, I'll send Agent Ha the jersey. I'll send him the Matt Ryan Colts jersey.
You don't think I'm gonna get one anyway?
He already got it underneath. He's got it underneath the hoodie.
He's like, I've been waiting all day.
I thought about coming on in my Matt Ryan jerseys.
But you know what? But the one thing that I don't want to skim over, which I think is going to be.
Oh, here we go. It was Rick Miller said. Rick Miller was the one that said he wishes it would have been anybody but Matt Ryan, because I'm in the group now. And then Jake Barnett said, I think he's a closet Colts fan now. And then Theo White said he was the go-to guy. So there we go. Now we can move on from Matt Ryan. John, cool down, get some water.
I want to keep talking Matt Ryan.
But no, but I think probably one of the
We'll do a
most,
Matt Ryan special this season. Don't worry.
I think probably
That's
one
why I
of
got
the
to be
most
on your next
important-
show.
One of the most important pickups, like other than the re-signs that they did, was trading Yannick Ngakoue for Rock Ya-Sin. I mean that was
Listen,
I love that move.
Yannick blocked me on Twitter. So now that he's back in the AFC South, can you hit him up and ask him if he can unblock me?
I'm gonna listen. I'm by the end of this season, I'm gonna get him on the podcast.
I just
I'm
want to
gonna-
know. I just want to know why he blocked me. It was just a joke.
Can we get Matt Ryan on the podcast?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna get a restraining order on you. If you ever
Tennessee Titans fan in Utah receives restraining order from Matt Ryan.
But no, but I think it's like I think there's a stat where it's just like he's the only player I think since 2016 to have. Well, no, I think only other player since 2016 to have 10 plus sacks a season.
Yeah.
So I mean that as far as them addressing pass rush rather than going in the draft again to do it is probably one of the most like low key just underrated moves that Ballard has done. And the thing is, it was a trade, so there was no picks involved. Still have all our draft capital except for the third given away from Matt Ryan, but that was the third that we got from Washington. So ultimately, I mean, we still have all our all our draft capital that we started with. So I mean, it was. I mean, I love the move, and then they'll probably end up re-signing him. So I hated Ballard up until the Yannick Ngakoue move. Then the Matt Ryan move, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to give him a grade. I'm not going to. Yannick bounced around 15, 19 months. I mean, that sounds great. But the thing is, 10 plus sack production, I mean, is it because he's bad or is it just because of the fact that he's going to a better team?
Did you guys lose anybody on defense? Notable?
Al-Quadin Muhammad and George Odom.
So
I think
what is your
Odom is kind of a big loss. Well, not a big loss, but I think it's like it was a really good depth loss, and I think like special teams he was actually pretty good, but I don't think we lost anybody that's like been starting like since day one.
Ya-Sin?
Ya-Sin had moments. I mean, he was getting better, but at the same time, I think that's one of the things that they'll probably end up targeting. Plus, if now that we have Matt Ryan, we know what the quarterback situation and that money's looking like. So I mean, now it's just like there's word of pursuing Armstead, Matthew, just getting those guys in there to solidify. Because I mean, you get Matthew on the secondary, and I mean, ultimately, I think that's going to cover up a lot of.
As long as they finally move T.Y. Hilton to the retirement home, everything will be fine. That man's getting old.
Maybe.
All right, last comment before we wrap it up.
I thought he was gone already.
Yannick bounced around to his fifth team in 19 months, and I have to say, you got to be careful making that comment because that's what got me blocked on Twitter. That's all I got to say.
Are you going to block the person who made that comment?
He might. I'm not going to. I'm saying Ngakoue blocked me on Twitter because I made a joke about that to him. So it was in reference to the Lizzo song "Truth Hurts," and he had tweeted that. Anyways, we won't go into it. I've already talked about it. Moving on, Dylan. You can feel relaxed, less tense. Kind of like you got a massage from Deshaun Watson.
I was gonna say that.
Because he is no longer on your team. No more massages.
I know. What are we going to talk about with the Texans? Like an entire year has been leading with the Texans of Deshaun Watson. What's going on?
Pretty much. Now it's back to just talking about Davis Mills' long neck, I guess.
I mean, isn't that a good day when that's all you have to talk about?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah. How does it feel to finally get rid of Deshaun Watson?
It's relieving. I'm glad all the speculation was over. Everyone arguing about his value and all that. People saying, yeah, definitely going to get a whole lot more than 3 first-round picks. And then you have the people who are like, nah, he's going to get like 1 first-round pick. And then you
No.
have the Texan fans who are like, no, he's going to decide that he actually wants to play for us. You know, the people in La La Land.
Chris Royal. Chris Royal. Yeah. No, Dylan, let me ask you this. Which, it's something that we've like gone back and forth and had discussions about like all of 2021. And I know we've talked about it all privately in our chat. Now that everything's wrapped up, just quickly, how do you feel like that ended? Like from your perspective, as far as like, do you think he's innocent? Like, does he deserve a right to be there, or should he forever be like a Ben Roethlisberger who always just kind of has that hanging over him?
I can't say he's innocent. I can't say he's guilty either. But we'll never know. I mean, 22 women is a lot, and there was more than that. That's just the ones that are suing him. I think the biggest telling thing were the women who went for criminal charges but didn't sue him for money, even though the criminal charges, they didn't have enough evidence. I think that's pretty telling there. Is you can't say they were all gold diggers or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, like you have like a lot of like women like, oh, it's not fair he gets to play. But I just want to remind everyone that we live in the United States of America, and the judicial system goes by not speculation, but beyond a reasonable doubt. And really, if you only have 2 people in the room, but as somebody who works kind of in that industry, always record people and make sure you let them know, like even if it's not video, because, you just got to be careful. You can't trust anybody. So anyway, moving on. Texans and free agency. Go ahead.
It's been quiet, but quiet in a good way, I guess. We had a lot of key guys who were key to our defense last year, and we brought them back. Just recently, I feel like the biggest one is Camus Grugier-Hill. He was really good for us. Just brought him back. Malik Collins, he was awesome. Desmond King, just a couple examples there. We did sign a few guys. Jalen Reeves-Maben, linebacker from Detroit. He was a free agent last offseason. The Texans made a big push. He ended up signing with Detroit for more money. Then he's a free agent again, and Nick got his guy. I think he's going to come in, start at linebacker right away. AJ Cann, he's we had the old Jaguars offensive line coach, so he reunites with his offensive line coach. I like him. He, especially in Pep Hamilton's offense, I feel like Cann struggles with pass blocking, but I feel like he's a really good run blocker. They need a running back, but I think they get it in the draft. And Pep Hamilton has a really strong running offense to help open up the passing game. And then what Nick did this offseason in free agency is he got guys who might not be all around great players, but they specialize in certain things. Like safety MJ Stewart, he graded out as one of the best pass coverage safeties. Might not be too helpful in the run game, but it's always good to have that guy. And then Agbo Okoronkwo, he's a pass rush specialist, replaced Jacob Martin. Jacob Martin's a 3-4, defense outside linebacker. We're in the 4-3, so he didn't really fit. So replace them with a different pass rush specialist. I love that. All the picks now, I like building in the draft, and I think that's what Nick wants to do. He wants to get his depth and then get those starters, get those young kids on rookie contracts to fill up the team.
Yeah, well, you guys, take a lesson from the Jaguars playbook. That doesn't always work out.
It doesn't always work out, but I trust Nick. I think he's got it.
Really?
5 last draft.
What do you think of Lovie Smith? You excited about it?
I'm excited about it. I feel like he's only going to be here a few years. I don't think it's going to be like a one and done situation or a 2 and done. I'm not the biggest fan of his defense. I feel like zone defenses, especially Tampa 2, there's a lot of room for them to kind of squeeze in plays and stuff like that. Last year, some games were really good with it. Some games, I mean, we ranked out at 30th in defense, something like that. But if you watch the games, it doesn't look so bad either. I like Lovey. I think of a lot of the choices. I think he was probably pretty up there. I love the fact that it's kind of him and Pep Hamilton. Kind of Lovey just got the defense, Pep just got the offense. I like that aspect. I wanted Pep here, and I feel like that's what got him to stay.
We finally got a Texans comment
we're back,
from
baby.
Twitch. Little box that says "Go Texans." So
we're back.
Welcome. They're back. They're commenting.
Analysis.
We had the Texans were ghost in 2021, but you guys are back.
We are back. We are hiding under Deshaun Watson's massage table, and now we're back.
Well, what do you give your grade, Dylan?
I'll give it a B-, just because it's a free agency grade and not a whole offseason grade.
Nice.
So I'm not going to count the Watson trade in that. So B-.
Well, guys, Chris, jumping to predictions, what do you see for – or not Chris, I'm sorry. We're going to jump back up to the top. Predictions for where do you see your team going, the next couple weeks? John Ha, do you see any free agency moves or anything like that for your team? Give us a recap.
It'll be pretty quiet. If they do anything, it's just minor things here and there. I think everyone is looking at the draft. I can ramble on and tell Sam. But let's shit talk Sam for a little bit. She walked out of the room.
All right, let's do it.
She asked me a question. I had nothing insightful to say that I didn't already say at the beginning. I said we're going to be pretty quiet. Don't do too much until the draft. I think we're yeah.
Hershey's been spending a lot of time on Moncrief recently.
She what?
She's been spending a lot of time on Moncrief recently.
What's
Ask her
that?
when you get back. Ask her if she's been spending a lot of time on Moncrief. It's a street in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. I was like, sorry, I don't know the local humor.
Go ahead. Just ask her when we get back. But no, well, you know what? I don't know. I don't know how on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Tannehill this year?
I mean, I'm still the same on him. It's like it's so hard to. I gave him a long leash last year because he just didn't have anybody. That playoff game, I give him no excuses. He deserves all the hate that he gets for that playoff game. He threw 3 stupid interceptions, and those 3 stupid interceptions, you take any one of those back, we're winning that game. But again, yeah. So, but during the season, I gave him a long leash. I was kind of hoping like maybe they'd be interested in something, but I doubt it. He's the best we've had in a long time. You just can't throw that out right away. But
our Jags commentator Justin Gonzalez says Tannehill is trash. Stop
Tannehill is trash. Yay, that's fine.
You know what? I'm going to say this real quick, and we'll wrap this up. I haven't talked to you about this yet.
Moncrief Street.
Well, no, I talk about that often.
Oh.
Don't get Chris Jackson started. Don't get Chris Jackson started.
You already started it.
He's gonna jump down my throat. Listen. I got really drunk. I got really drunk in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And I met an Uber driver named Nas, not the rapper. He's not driving Ubers, but
little Haas X.
No, his name really was Nas. I think he's in our group now, so shout out to Nas.
Okay.
And I had a hypothetical for him, and I'm going to ask you this real quick because I've asked this in the last couple of episodes.
Wait, give me the hypothetical like you're drunk.
Okay, so check this out. What if, I'm just saying, Derrick Henry isn't your team's savior? So I'm just saying your offensive scheme obviously held up a lot better once he was injured, and then he came back from the playoffs, and you guys didn't play so well.
So wait, what's the question?
Do you think maybe that Derrick Henry is like maybe you guys play better offensively without Derrick Henry because you're not relying on him and you play a different offensive scheme?
I mean, the scheme was still the same. We still ran the ball a lot, and it's just the difference was it was between 3 different guys as opposed to 1 guy. So it was 3 people getting carries as opposed to 1 person. So is the question Derrick Henry the savior?
They
I
pass
don't
the
think
ball more.
slightly. It was still we still just this run heavy offense, and that's just the way it's going to be. I don't think anybody on this panel is going to say that Derrick Henry is not a superior running back to Dontrell Hilliard or Deontay Foreman.
No,
Exactly. He's just a better running back. So yeah, he is my. Well, I guess I'm not understanding what your question is. Like, what's the problem?
The problem was that Derrick Henry got reactivated for the playoff game, and Tannehill shit the bed in that game. Is there? The question is there a possibility that the Titans play better without Derrick Henry?
No.
You told me to say it was like I was drunk, and then you asked me to explain myself.
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, because you look at like the 3 best games we had was with Derrick Henry. You have the game against the Bills. You have the game against the Chiefs, and you have the game against the Colts. The second game against the Colts. All 3 of those were Derrick Henry games.
The Jets.
He was the only offense in that game. There was no Tannehill in the Jets game. It was all Derrick Henry.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Just a question. It's like a.
Do we play better without him? No, but if I know it's. You confessed tonight that you don't listen to us when we're talking, but I said leading into the playoffs that activating Derrick Henry isn't going to be a game breaker. I said he's going to come back, but he won't be back because Derrick Henry is a guy that needs to warm up. He doesn't just come out the gate being great. He needs more touches. He needs to build up. He needs to warm up. You know what I mean? Like, so him coming in there was just served more as a distraction more than anything for against the defense.
John Gruden wants to know if Dylan's in a Christmas sweater.
Nah,
yes, he is.
It's actually Christmas pajamas. Get it right. Texans
Christmas
pajamas.
Anyway, so
we've got the pants
there
too.
You go. Oh, he's got the onesie and everything.
I wish it was a onesie. That's the only thing that's missing. They're both separate.
Justin Gonzalez says, I mean, they've won as many Super Bowls with Henry that they have without. Give him the boot. We know he's trolling. So
yeah. But no, I think the offense obviously works better with Henry, but we're at the point now where running backs, given where he is in his career, start to decline. So that's why I was a little more worried about losing Deontay Foreman than anything, but we weren't going to be able to afford him because he was obviously going to get more money. So going forward from here, I worry more about Henry.
All right.
That's just because of the history of the running back position.
Well, thank you for your logical reasoning and explanation, even though you told me to say it like I was drunk and then talk to me like I was stupid. I can't help it. I talk.
It was a trap.
All right, moving on. Matt Grieve, predictions for the Jags quickly. Do you see any? I mean, can anything else happen at this point?
I mean, I could see that maybe, like I said earlier, trading Laviska Shenault maybe for some more capital. Maybe letting go of Brandon Linder. He's kind of one of those carryovers from the previous regime, or I guess the previous losing regimes. But other than that, was he? Brandon Linder
he was cut already.
Oh,
Brandon Linder is cut.
Yeah, Brandon Linder was cut last week.
Yeah,
there's been look, Jags notes, guys.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
Linder was one of those guys who was cut like early on. I think he was the day after Miles Jack was cut, I believe.
Yeah. There's been a lot coming out of Jaguars camp. But anyways, Chris Jackson.
Predictions? Well, this isn't necessarily a prediction as much as it's hope. But I mean, like I said, I just hope that ideally this week we get Honey Badger, Armstead, and Jarvis Landry, and I will be completely okay with Chris Ballard again because I've had some terrible things to say about him on Twitter in the last week, and honestly, I take back nothing.
Careful.
How are you gonna feel when you don't get any of those guys though?
Then you know what? I'm going back to saying all the awful things I said about Chris Ballard to begin with. Matter of fact, they're going to be even more awful. They're going to be awfuler. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'll go with that for right now because that's how
You
I
don't
feel.
deserve Matt Ryan with that attitude.
But you know what? You know what, John? John, you know what? You'll never hear any Matt Ryan slander until he throws the first pick, and then I'm just gonna be
Here's
like,
what you will get from Matt Ryan. Nobody is better at taking a sack to get out of field goal range on third down than Matt Ryan. That's my negative critique of Matt Ryan. He's going to take that sack to push you out of field goal range, but he's not going to throw a shovel pass right to the enemy for a pick six.
Hello,
man,
everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Matt Ryan Love Battle podcast.
hey, I will say I look forward to you being on the podcast tomorrow, sir. 'Cause this is absolute mayhem.
Comment came in from the group. John has to buy a Matt Ryan Colts jersey now. We already established Chris Jackson is buying one, and John Haas said he's going to wear it.
Listen,
Oh, yeah.
And somebody else. Hey,
I was planning on getting one, but if Chris is going to buy me one, I'll take it.
these are coming in late.
you beat me to the
Linder, Chris Jackson, Linder is not cut.
Really?
Matt.
I
Yeah,
believe
he's not cut. They're
he's
him and the Jags brass. He's contemplating retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they said that they were.
Yeah,
they were
he's going to
planning
either
on cutting
retire
him,
or the Jags are going to cut him. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like I said, a lot going
so he's
on.
mulling retirement.
He may be gone tomorrow by the time this goes on all the
It's gonna
podcast
be an
platforms.
out-of-date
So
podcast.
yeah. All right. Dylan, predictions. And then we'll close it.
For free agency, probably not much. Maybe veteran running back, Ronald Jones, Marlon Mack. Maybe there were rumors they might throw money at Leonard Fournette. I doubt that one. But veteran
I think
running back-
I think Leonard Fournette, isn't he gonna stay in Tampa now that Tom's back? Or is that
No,
he hasn't said
he's still
anything yet.
visiting. He's still
I think
visiting
he
other
just had a
places.
visit today. I forget what team he visited, but he's still out visiting.
Patriots?
Yes,
I think?
that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
playoff Lenny?
Yeah, maybe a corner. Maybe if there's someone Nick likes, Trey Waynes just got cut. Maybe he looks at him. But no,
Well-
not really. All draft.
Well, guys, like I said, we normally this time of year would have a couple week break, but we're coming back next week because things are changing, like I said, by the hour. So, make sure you tune in and also tune in to Chris Jackson's podcast. It goes on live tomorrow. You Don't Know Jack podcast, as well as the Texans Fan Battle podcast. And then the John Ha is going to be starting the Matt Ryan podcast. So you can make sure that you tune into that one. We'll let you know as soon as it launches. I'm sure it will be.
It will be everything you imagined and then more.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, we thank you guys for tuning in this evening, and we will see you next week.